Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yesterday we started the reflection upon Surah Al-A'raf, and the name is mentioned near the third quarter of the 8 juz, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the people of A'raf. They are known as the Ashabul A'raf. ونادى أصحاب الأعراف رجالا يعرفونهم بسيماهم قالوا ما أغنى عنكم جمعكم وما كنتم تستكبرون. That A'raf means height. It came from the root word which defines the ladder, which is something on height. So A'raf are the people, the Ashabul A'raf will be the people between the Jahannam and the Jannat. So they will call upon people, and their faces will be very illuminating, and their faces will be illuminating by the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they will call upon the people, and then the call will be from the people of Jahannam. Those people of Jahannam will be called. And before the people of Jahannam, Allah mentioned about the people of Jannah, that they will call the people of Jahannam. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ أَنْ قَدْ وَجَدْنَا مَا وَعَدَنَا رَبُّنَا حَقًّا. They will say that we have found the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala haqq. His promise was truth, that the one who believes will get the Jannah. We got the Jannah. And the Ashabun Nar will call the people of Jannat. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ أَصْحَابَ الْجَنَّةِ أَنْ أَفِيضُوا عَلَيْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ أَوْ مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. They will call for the people of Jannat, and they will ask for water. مِنَ الْمَاءِ أَوْ مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. They will ask, give us some food, give us some water. But Allah is saying, إِنَّ اللَّهَ حَرَّمَهُمَا عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. The kafirin, the water and the food is haram upon the disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reject them. And then at the end of this 8 juz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, as I mentioned earlier, that Allah mentioned about the people before us, the nations before us. And then near the 9th juz, end of the A'raf, Surah Al-A'raf, the ayah that I started today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving the hukm to Rasulullah, خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. That you forgive the people who did mistake and come to your court, then my beloved, forgive them. Forgive the people who do mistakes and come to you. So this should be also of our sifat, our quality, that our Rasulullah used to forgive people. So if you have some grudge, or if somebody is having grudge against you, try to forgive people. Especially my sisters, that we keep grudges for the whole life. We don't speak to our brothers, we don't speak to our relatives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's first hadith, when he entered Medina, he said that Afshu salam, at'imu ta'am, silul arham. That you say salam to everybody, you feed people, and then you do not cut your family ties, your kinship. You have to be silul arham, you have to be very good with your family members. So do not cut off yourself with the family members. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the malaika. The ayah of sajda that I recited, it's about the malaika. Allah is saying the malaika is always in the ruku, they are always in the sajda, but they never do takabbur. They are not arrogant, they don't boast about their ibadat. Or we see that if we do some ibadat, some extra ibadat, we try to boast. Okay, no, I have done this ibadat, I have done this salah, I have recited Qur'an in abundance. We boast. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the angels, the malaika, they don't do takabbur about their ibadat. And then starts the Surah Anfaal. Anfaal means the remains of the war, the remains that's called the mal ghanimat. It's called Anfaal in Arabic. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ. After the battle of Badr, this is about battle of Badr, the first battle that happened in the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, they ask you about the Anfaal, about the mal ghanimat. Say them, my beloved, say them, قُلِ الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. That the Anfaal is for Allah and His Rasul. Because they were asking, because Rasulullah was giving, for someone he was giving extra, for someone he was giving less. So the people were asking, why are you giving extra and less? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's order came, don't say don't ask them, don't give them a reply or answer. Just say them, the Anfal belongs to Allah and His Rasul. To whomever they like, they will give. وَلِلْ أَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the battle of Badr. What happened to the believers? Because they took the land, when they came, they were on the land that was very soft. And the land of the disbelievers, the kuffar, the people of Quraysh, was hot. And they had water. They had the qabza on the water. And the believers doesn't have the water. And their land were also soft, so they can't walk. So what happened? Their qulub, Allah is saying, their qulub was shaking. So what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النَّعَاسَ. That Allah sent down rain for the believers. And then what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the arrangement of water for the believers. And that land of these believers got soft because of the rain. And Allah mentioned the blessing that Allah gave to the believers at that time, to the ashab of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And after the ayat, Allah mentioned, because Rasulullah threw the dust upon, threw some stones or dust upon the disbelievers, saying, may you people get humiliated. And that throwing, Allah is saying that وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. My beloved, it's not you who are throwing that stone, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is throwing that stone. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is throwing that dust upon the disbelievers. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. And Rasulullah threw that upon the disbelievers. And then after the end of the 9th juz, Allah mentioned about the shan, the virtues of Rasulullah. Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anh was offering salah. He was in the salah, and Rasulullah called him. It's reported by Ibn Kasir and many mufassirin under this ayah that I am reciting. Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anh was in salah. And what happened? Rasulullah called him. He didn't answer. And he completed his salah and came. Rasulullah asked, why didn't you answer me? He said that, Ya Rasulullah, I was praying salah. So Rasulullah recited this ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu stajibu lillahi walir rasuli idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. If you want to be alive, O believers, when Allah and His Rasul calls, come to them. So the Mufassirin and Muhaddisin says, even if Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu would have left his salah, came and fulfilled the orders of Rasulullah and went back to the salah, his salah would be complete. This is the virtue of Rasulullah. And then at the end, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
you don't have to repeat the salah, he can join.
Yes, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is calling you. And Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu was in salah and he left the salah and came. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam virtue and shan is so high that even if he would have joined the salah after he fulfilled the orders of Rasulullah, that salah would be mukammil, that salah would be completed. And then again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the virtue at the end of 9th juz, that وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. The disbelievers would ask, why is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending punishment upon us? Why is He not sending the rain of stones upon us? Why is He not sending the adhab upon us? Allah is saying, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. My beloved, until you are amongst them, we will not send punishment to them. We will not send azab to them. Even today, until the day of judgment, the ummah will not get the collective adhab, the ijtima'i adhab, ijtima'i punishment. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is amongst us. So Allah will not send the azab like the other nations. And then Allah mentioned about the khumus. This is a very important topic of khumus. Today we see people, they ignore the sadat. They ignore the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Allah mentioned in the first ayah of the 10th juz, khumus. وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ. It's the 5th part of the mal. It's the 5th part of the anfal that would go to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People today, they don't give because they say that, okay, no, we can't give zakat to the sadat, to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you can give gift to them. As a gift you can present them. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned and Rasulullah said that the zakat or sadaqat is haram upon the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Bani Hashim, who are from the Bani Hashim, the zakat is haram upon them. So what happens? People don't give zakat to them. No, we can't give it. But they are still needy people who are from the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you can give as a gift. You can give, you don't have to give charity, you can give as a gift. That fifth mal was appointed, was allocated for the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu hasbukallah, your Allah, my Nabi, your Allah is sufficient for you, and His madad, His help is sufficient for you. And Allah is saying, وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَكَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and you are sufficient for the believers. Your Allah is sufficient for you, and you are sufficient for the believers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of Surah Al-Anfal mentioned that these believers, the mu'mineen, are friends. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. But the disbelievers also are friends with one another. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. But today we see, especially our Muslim rulers, they are trying to befriend the disbelievers, and they are ignoring the believers. They are ignoring the Muslimin, the believers, the mu'mineen. Allah is saying the mu'mineen are the friends. The disbelievers are not your friends. The disbelievers are friends for each other at the end of Surah Anfal. And when we start the Surah Tawbah, Allah mentioned Bara'atum, because it's one of the last surahs of the Qur'an, Surah Tawbah. And we don't see a surah, a Bismillah before this Surah Tawbah. One of the reasons says because Allah's wrath and anger was in this surah, so it didn't start with Bismillah. And one of the reasons Mufassirin says because it's a continuation of Anfal. It's the continuation of the ahkam of the Anfal. That is why to keep that distance between these two surahs, it was the Bismillah was not written in that. And then Allah is saying Bara'atum. Allah is free from all these deals that we had with the mushrikeen. Now it was the last time. The deen was mukammal. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was ordered that now you give them time for at least 4 months. If they don't come, then we will fight with them. And for the Ahlul Kitab, it was said that they have to give jizya. They have to pay tax to be here. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and here in the Surah Tawbah, Allah made it clear. Some people think that, okay, we have built something, or we have done some good deeds. The mushrikeen, the kuffar, Allah is saying أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِّ وَعِمَارَةَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ, that even if the disbelievers give the water to the hujjaj, or even if they do the ta'amir of Masjidul Haram, they are not equal to the believers. Even if a disbeliever do the ta'amir of the Masjidul Haram and they give water to the hujjaj ikram, still they are not equal to the believers. Allah is saying this. So the virtue of believer is very high in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the people, and Allah also mentioned about the people who boasted themselves. Even in the 9th juz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this, that they boasted about the numbers. Because in the battle of Hunain, those people, the ashab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they came into a misconception that the numbers is what gives you the win in the battle. But Allah is saying, لَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَوَاطِنَ كَثِيرَةٍ وَيَوْمَ حُنَيْنٍ. When they boasted about numbers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed the scenario of that battle. The battle of Hunain was about to, they were about to lose the battle of Hunain. It was fought in the 8th Hijri. But what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again helped those believers. And in that fight, when the believers were getting back, when the ashab were getting back, Rasulullah, it's reported in Shama'il Tirmizi that Rasulullah was moving forward against those disbelievers. And he was saying, أَنَا النَّبِيُّ لَا كَذِبْ أَنِ عِبْنِ عَبْدِ الْمُطَّلِبِ, that I am the Nabi, there is no lie, and I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. This was the bravery of Rasulullah. When everybody was moving back, Rasulullah was moving forward in the battle of Hunain. So after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, last point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the virtue of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. He says, إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَهُ اللَّهُ إِذْ أَخْرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ إِذْ يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the ghar with Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he was fearful about the life of Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beloved Rasul said, and it's the words of Rasulullah, my Siddiq, my sahib, don't fear, la tahzan, don't fear, and don't be in a sorrow kind of mood, because inna Allah ma'ana, Allah is with us. Allah is with us. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them legend who followed His orders. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them cursed until the day of judgment who didn't follow His orders. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the people who follow His orders. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the people who follow the orders of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa ma alayna illa